Hey everybody, welcome to Ocala Garage. So what is this? It's like November 12th or something. I am about ready to install the engine and transmission. I'm pointing to them off camera over here. But I needed to move the car back a little bit farther in the garage because when I brought it in, I didn't think about how much space I needed in front to get the engine and transmission in. So when you're putting your car in your garage, keep it a little bit farther back, or at least maybe turn it the other way. I've got nose in, maybe have it nose out, and then you've got all the space on your driveway. So just something to think about. But I did manage to get the car moved back, and it's back on the jack stands. So we're pretty much ready to install the engine. However, I decided to kind of move it a little step forward, and I'm test fitting the steering column. And so I'm going to take you through what I'm doing there. And I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do some of the permanent install stuff today or not, but at least some of the things that I'm doing that I think are smart to do ahead of time. So let me show you here on the car. So I have the Russ Thompson turn signal kit that I purchased, and so that doesn't really complicate things, but it does add another factor to the situation. So I've got the steering boss, and I've got the first rod kind of in place. The steering boss, once you go through the Russ Thompson, he mills in these little tabs here, and those are to cancel the turn signals. So if you've got that in there, you want to make sure they're facing the right direction when you get all your steering rack connected to the column here, because you want this to be down when the front wheels are pointing straight forward. All right, just a quick interjection in here, because as I was reviewing the video, I told you all wrong. The steering boss orientation, these tabs need to go to the side like this. And the easy way to tell, actually, so if you look on the steering boss, see if we can get a good angle, there's a letter T right in there. That is the top. These screws are not equidistant apart. There's a larger spacing here, and that gets your steering wheel position to be up here, and that's where this T is. So the steering boss needs to go this way. These little tabs go off to the side here, because this is actually where when you hit the turn signal, a little thing pops out on these sides. So these tabs need to line up there. So when you get everything installed and lined up, make sure your T is up, and then you can line everything up. So all of that goes down. So there's the upper steering arm, then there's this sleeve here, which I believe the sleeve is like a crumple zone. So if you get into front end collision, everything gets pushed back. This actually will collapse because it's mostly hollow. I think that's what that is. Don't quote me on that. And then we got a little U-joint here. This is a 1-inch DD. And then we've got the lower column, and then this, 3/4 inch with I've got the power steering, so this is the power steering adapter. So the power steering column's got splines on it. So this lines up with the splines, and that's where you need to get everything sort of straightened and aligned when you put this on, because if you have this a little bit off, then your steering wheel is going to be off center, and it's just going to be a pain in the ass. So what the instructions want you to do is get these in, and then you drill a little bit of a detent into these so that the stop nut here, this little stop nut, will go down and recess in and lock this in place. Same thing up here on this side. They don't call for it on this arm here, the sleeve, so I got to double check that. But what I've done is just kind of, well, I haven't finished yet, obviously, because this is still sticking out. So this slides down into this sleeve, but you need to get some washers in here, and they're kind of like spring washers. And I feel like once this goes in there, it's kind of staying. And so I wanted to wait and do that a little bit towards the end of the test fitting. That way I can get the steering boss here to be flat against this. And obviously you can see I've got a good, what, 4 inches, 4.5 inches that it needs to go down into that sleeve. So, and that should be this, and then this other detent up a little bit higher. Should get fit into this sleeve. Then that will fit. And then I've got everything sort of adjusted, and what I've done by test fitting everything is now I can turn this to all, you know, all the way to each extent here, all the way far left, all the way far right, and then of course back to center. And nothing's binding up, nothing's getting caught on anything. You can see like this is sticking out just a little bit beyond, but it's not getting caught when everything is turning. So that's super important to kind of mock everything up first, because you know, the manual wants you to, so mocking it up is super important because the manual is having you drill into that arm, and you want to make sure that when you're drilling into that arm, that's where that stop, you know, that little lock nut's going to go, the set screw, and you just want to make sure you have everything positioned right. So I've mocked it all up now, and I've checked all my, you know, full left, full right, nothing's binding. So now I can loosen those set screws and mark them off and get everything drilled out. All right, so we're going to give this a try. So I'm going to take one of these little black washers here, and then yeah, that is nice and tight. That's what that certainly does. Let's get a little gentle persuasion going. Okay. Now, hopefully, I've got a little gentle persuasion tool here, a little rubber mallet. I think we're still doing all right. That's almost there. All right, now we're gonna just keep going until this is just barely seated, and we'll come back. All right, well, it is in there. Can't see that one anymore, but it's just right at the edge. And then we're gonna come over here to the front. All right, so we've got a little bit of play in this here, and we have a little bit of play back. Actually, I'm gonna loosen this stuff up back here by the set screws, so we know we got a little bit of room to play with. Okay, so now the slack is, let's see, we're going to get this on. Again, I have this oriented so these tabs are down, and then this has some flat spots, so this grips, and then there's a little bit of space that still needs to be filled in here, but we can do that just by tightening this bolt down. All right, let me get the big Allen wrench. All right, so now we're gonna tighten this dude down. Let's try the turn signal out. So I put the right signal on, so if we turn right, and then come back, it cancels. Back to center. Cancels. Perfect. All right. That is done. Steering boss is on. We have movement here. All right. I'll tighten these down. Let me put this up. I will tighten this. So I've left this loose to give it a little bit of play. So we'll tighten these down once I get everything else cut and final mounted. So I drilled a little detent into there, and then we're going to go ahead, slide this on. I'm just checking to make sure it's actually catching into that recess. See if I need to drill it in farther, which I don't believe I do. So we'll tighten that down, and then we'll tighten down this nut on top. So we've got a set nut for the set screw. That's a 1/2 inch wrench here. Yep. All right, now here's the thing. If you guys have been paying attention, I don't have the panel here. So all this has to come right back out when I put that panel on. But it'll be ready to go when I do. So should be fairly quick. All right, so I'm gonna do that same thing with the next lower arm, and we'll come back when I'm done. I've gone ahead and marked off these ends, and then I put a T up there, so I know this is at the top, near the nearest to the firewall. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this started. Yeah, that was a little off center. Well, crap. All right, I want you to start with a 3/16 bit. So we'll start with that. Okay. Same thing on this side here. You can see. All right, now we'll upgrade to the 5/16. All right, that should be good. Same thing on this side. That should be good. Those tighten down. We'll tighten this set nut down. And all these. You won't see these because I'm off camera now. So now we've got this drilled so the set screw will go in. That is drilled so the set screw goes in. That's drilled so the set screw goes in. And we are all fitted up. Of course now, pretty much gonna have to take everything apart, but I know it all fits. Just wanted to pop in real quick and say don't forget to tighten down the set screw here, and then up here as well. There's 2 of them on each. I forgot to mention that when I was putting this together earlier. Well, that wasn't too difficult. It was just a little bit fiddly, but that's, you know, that's all right. We just want to make sure everything's lined up and works and nothing has a clearance issue. So yeah, steering column is installed, at least temporarily installed. I'm gonna have to, again, remove it here. One, to get that panel in, and I'm probably gonna remove it when I go to put the engine in, just so I don't bang into it. But I just wanted to get it in and see how it goes. So hopefully the next video will be probably a time lapse of us trying to get the engine installed. So yeah, stick around for that, or look for that. Might be a couple weeks down the road, I don't know. I've got to collect up some friends that can be paid with pizza and beer. Maybe just pizza, maybe not even pizza. I don't know, we'll figure it out. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit me up with comments below. Tell me all the things I've done wrong. Tell me all the things I've done right. Give me some advice, whatever you want to do. Just, you know, put a recipe in there, whatever. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks a lot.